911, what's your emergency? 911, what's your emergency?
Be advised, Car 4 has control of the pursuit. Proceed with caution.
Okay, here we go. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope you all can hear me and see me. Welcome to Frankmesiter. And I have Drew Collins on the phone with me. Unfortunately, for some reason, StreamYard is not being friendly to him tonight, and we can't get him on the stream. So he's going to be on with me by phone. So.
And Ruckus is not able to be here tonight either, guys.
Yeah, Ruckus is not going to be here either. Sorry, guys. I just found that out about a half an hour ago. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I know that he will miss us because he said that he would. So, but it's good to see all of you. It's been a while, and I know that. But you know, I've been on with Frank for a while. You know, a few times in the last few months. You guys know that I just needed a break after everything with Delphi. I needed an emotional break.
A lot of us have.
And I didn't think there was any better way to come back into it than to deal with Evansdale, because we've talked about this case many times over the years on my channel. You guys all are, everybody who follows me pretty much follows this case. You guys all know Drew, and please give him a warm welcome, everyone. Drew, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You guys had your memorial ride this past weekend. How did that go?
It went really good.
Good. I saw some video from it, and you guys had a huge turnout.
Yeah, it was. You know, we usually do. I don't know. There was probably 150 bikes and probably 30, 40 cars, maybe.
That's a nice turnout right
I
there.
thought that was an awesome turnout. I was just amazed, and it almost teared me up a little bit because it was just, I thought, there's so many people out there that are still championing for justice for Elizabeth and Lyric and you and your family. And I just think it's amazing. I'm so glad that people are still keeping the girls in the forefront of their minds.
Yeah, it's a pretty big case around here, and a lot of people have just been following it. They want to see it be resolved. So we've had great support from everyone in our town and surrounding areas for the whole time. So we just appreciate it, and we just keep pushing to make to keep it out there and to get some results.
And there's some movement, isn't there?
I don't know that I would call it movement or not. I mean, the state went and purchased a bunch of new hardware and software to update their lab down in Des Moines for the state lab. Instead of sending that stuff out to these private labs, they'll have it in-house, so they can just do all the testing there that they need to do. So it's going to be, they'll be able to do, a lot of the new DNA technology stuff that that's kind of come up in the last couple of years, where they can, when they have a multiple DNA with test with multiple DNAs mixed, they can separate them. And then some other stuff that picks up smaller amounts of DNA or DNA that's because they were out there in the sun for quite a while. We don't know how long exactly, the whole time or part of the time, but a lot of DNA gets degraded out in the sun. So the new technologies are able to pick, where 12, 13 years ago they weren't able to use those samples. Now they can. So I guess it's a little bit of hope, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Because anytime they're retesting for DNA, that to me is a big deal.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Drew about that, if this was the case where they had a minute sample of DNA, they weren't able to determine who it belonged to because of the marker situation. Now, have they told you that they have found DNA that did not belong to the girls that's mixed in with their DNA?
I can hardly hear you, but I think I heard you. They don't really tell me very much.
Right.
They don't tell me if they've got DNA. If you guys watched I don't know if you guys saw the Des Moines News where they went into the lab and talked to them. They said, in there, except from what they said, they have quite a bit of
evidence from the crime scene.
Yeah. So according to that article, I don't know, did you see that, Kristin?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So according to that, they've got a lot. But it might have been, at the time they tested it before, it might have been, they might not have been able to get anything from it to it being degraded.
Well,
so I'm just hoping that, that going back, they can retest it and maybe they'll find something that shouldn't be there. Maybe somebody's, if they find somebody's DNA in there that shouldn't be there, that could be our big break.
It sounds like that they're going to either use mitochondrial or nuclear DNA testing is what it sounds like to me.
And I think that this is another thing that I was thinking about with it as well. A lot of times in these types of cases, when they have DNA found at a crime scene such as this, and we don't know a lot about the crime scene, as Drew has stated, because they've not really come out and said. They're trying to keep all that close to their vest, so that when they do bring a suspect in, they don't have that information out in the public, and then they'll be certain that they have their person. But a lot of times there's a mixture of the victim's DNA along with a perpetrator's DNA, possibly. And when that happens, then it's sometimes in the past, and this was I've seen this in so many different cases, where they could not differentiate the perpetrator's DNA or the other DNA from the victims. And they've now gotten better. DNA testing has gotten much more precise, and they're able to pull that DNA out. So that's my hope, is that with the new testing, maybe they can actually isolate a DNA profile from someone from just a small, minute amount of DNA, because now it takes even less DNA to get a profile than it has in the past.
And it's just going to get better from here, guys.
Absolutely. So it's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And if they have that much evidence, Drew, at some point, this person, it's going to come to light. We're going to find out who this person is. And if this person is still with us, if this person isn't, but I do believe we are going to find out who it is.
I see a conclusion coming in the future, since that they're going to do the different DNA technology now. So
yeah, I do too. And I know that for you, it's got to be like a roller coaster almost of emotion, because you want to be hopeful, but yet, you know what I mean? It's like you don't want to get your hopes up too high to be let down. But just because of the anniversary that just passed on Sunday, how many years has gone by, and all the changes in technology since this happened in 2012.
And really, as far as news goes, this has been probably the biggest thing that's happened, is them come out and talk about this. Otherwise, they haven't talked about anything, and there's been nothing released. So really, this is the most news we've got.
Absolutely.
On the whole case.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that's what I was thinking. It is crazy. It's like been crickets for years and nothing, except I think they tell you that they're working on it. And that, there's agents that are assigned to this case, and they're working on it. And, as we all know, in the true crime world that cover these types of cases, the more we talk about it and the more we keep the case out there, we kind of can put pressure on and helpfully maybe rattle some cages of some people that may know something or saw something, and even all these years later didn't think it was important or relevant, and that they would contact authorities. We're constantly asking them, if anybody out there watching knows anything about this case, to please contact the Evansdale Police Department or the Indiana State Police, and give them whatever information that you may have.
Unfortunately, I think this case will be solved through technology. We haven't been able to, that we know of. There might be some tips that come in that have come in, that they'll be able to take this technology and match it with some tips that came in,
Right.
But I think it'll be solved through technology, not a tip.
And I tend to agree with you, because I feel like if it was going to be tip related, it'd have happened by now. But at the same time, you just never know. It's like, I do believe that somebody in Evansdale knows.
Yeah, like I was talking to Kristin earlier.
It'll probably, the evidence will probably corroborate somebody's tip that came in before. That's my guess.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they'll kind of bunch it all, bring it all together. I have a feeling they know exactly who did it anyway.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And they need that other piece. They need that piece. We've all talked about this. Everybody on the channel that's watching tonight, the majority of the people in here that I see all followed the Delphi case with me. And we all well know that, they may very well know who it is, but they have to have the evidence to take into court to prove it. And they have to be able to prove it without a reason, beyond a reasonable doubt. And so that makes it a little bit higher of a bar that a lot of people don't understand. Well, if they know who it is, why don't they just go get them?
You can't just arrest somebody on suspicion. You just can't do that. I mean, you're looking at, then they're looking at a possible lawsuit if they've got the wrong person. So I understand why they're keeping everything under the behind the vest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, everybody.
I think the state of Iowa did, our detectives have done an awesome job at as frustrating as it's been for me. At the same time, I know how good of a job they've done at just keeping everything out of the public.
Mm-hmm.
And only a few people know the details of the case. So they've definitely done a great job of protecting the case. And, I don't think for 1 minute they've ever let this case go cold. They've been working it the entire time. I don't know. I just think, we've got great investigators working it, people that really care. So I know it's just a matter of time. It's just, it's not ever, in your time.
Right. No, it isn't. It isn't. Absolutely.
It's more of a having patience type situation and let them do their job. And, besides like the Delphi case, nobody had any patience with that case whatsoever. I do see with this case here, since there's not hardly any information about the case out there anywhere, that's telling me that, like I just said, they're keeping everything quiet. They don't want rumor mills going around, and things of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew, there was an HBO documentary that was done a year ago on the girls taken together. How did you feel about the documentary? I talked to you about it a little bit, I think, when we met in January when we were on our road trip that day. But it was, I thought that it was very well done. And it really brings everything together for what you went through as a family. We
really only touched on a few different theories. There's other theories, the Clunder one, that one, I think really makes sense. Yeah. But there's quite a few other, people we have on our radar.
Right.
Not the police necessarily, but I'm talking about the guys that worked the documentary with me.
Right.
We've got plenty of other, people have called us with tips too, and there's people of interest that aren't those guys.
Yep.
Then the weird thing is like, they always come back and say, Clunder didn't do it. But it just fits for him to have done it. But
well, it's definitely his MO as far as what he's been known to do, right?
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
And so I think that's one reason why people want to go there. But what I've always found to be kind of odd is when you've got the police coming back and saying, nope, it wasn't him. Why would they do that? And especially now, since he's no longer part of the earth. You know what I mean? It's like.
Well, I can understand why.
I mean,
they did the same thing with the I-70 killer here in Indiana. He had long passed away, and they had a suspicion it was him, but they couldn't do anything because they didn't have direct evidence, and that's where they went into the genealogy technology of DNA and all that. And that's how they came up with him. And they were like, we knew it was him, but we just didn't have the evidence.
Right.
So,
well, my thought on that whole thing is, you know, his friend lived right down the street. That guy that I interviewed out on the road.
Yes. Yes.
That guy lived right down the street from me, probably a football field away.
Mm-hmm.
And if Clunder came here and did that, I don't think for 1 minute that guy wasn't involved.
Wasn't part of it. Exactly.
So it makes it a little harder, you know. And I don't think Clunder was on the radar until that happened the next year.
Right.
So it would make a really good defense for the other guy to go, oh, it was him. It was him. It wasn't me. So
a deflection.
They're just keeping it like that and keeping it the door a little bit open, but not, you know, and they're just waiting for the evidence so they can, you know, see what kind of evidence comes in and see if the other guy was involved too. Because he could just say, it wasn't me, it was him. And got to get one person on that jury to say, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it. You know?
No, yeah, exactly.
If they said it was Clunder, then everybody would be going after that guy. But like I said, we have plenty of other people that it could possibly be. So maybe it wasn't him.
Right.
And it was one of these other guys.
Right. And that was one of the things that fascinated me when I was with you, is hearing your take on some of that and some of those people and why. And will you, while you're on with me tonight, just speak to a little bit about Seven Bridges and the locale and how it's so out of the way that somebody that did this had to have known about the place?
Yeah, I mean, it's excuse me.
You're fine.
You wouldn't just be driving around to find someplace to take them and find Seven Bridges. It's so remote and so like in the middle of nowhere. That you have to know that place. And you don't really get it. You've seen it, so you kind of understand, but you don't really get it unless you've gone there.
Unless you've gone there, exactly. You guys, we talked about the remoteness of Delphi and how you didn't, even people that lived in Delphi didn't know of the bridge, didn't know that bridge and trail was there back in 2017. I'm here to tell you, Seven Bridges is bizarre. I mean, it is so, the sign to it that is on the highway to turn off to go to it.
Highway, it's just a blacktop.
Yeah, it's like a blacktop. Yeah. You would miss it if you were just driving normal, you wouldn't even see that sign. And then you have to drive way, way back off the road, the beaten path to get to it. And yeah, it's something else. Whoever
the gravel turns into just a dirt road. So you got to pull off the gravel and go down a dirt path, basically.
Yep.
So basically what it is, it's whoever did this was not like just driving around and saying, oh, that's a perfect spot to, they knew exactly where they were going. Yes. Out of the way where people don't know that he knew or they knew. Because honestly, we don't know if it's multiple people or if it's just a single individual.
Yeah, we still don't know if we're looking at one or two people or more. I mean, we don't know for sure.
Now, are you able to drive to the exact location where they were found, or do you have to walk?
You have to walk.
So somebody had to have carried them girls to the location.
Or made them walk.
Right.
It's a heck of a walk.
There's no way they carried Lyric in there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it is, you guys wouldn't believe it. I mean, it's through, if you guys remember, Mr. Steve and Ruckus did a live from Evansdale and they walked back in there. and Ruckus laughs because he tried to fall, I think, a couple of times. But I can see, we went in January and it was freezing cold. Jinx, Rescue, all the dogs, and Ruckus met Drew in Evansdale I believe it was the 2nd or 3rd of January. And it was cold, you guys, and windy when we were there.
I remember when you called me and said it's
Oh
so
my
damn
God.
cold up here.
Oh my God, it was cold. But the walk to get back there was like, and this was winter. And so you got to remember, if the girls were taken immediately back there, that would have been in July. So it would have been much more thickets with lots of,
Greenery.
foliage and
Yeah.
greenery and stuff. We didn't have that in January, but you still had the thicket part of it, and, and brush and stuff like that. It was not easy. It was not easy. And it's like, I call it a deer path. Wouldn't you call it that, Drew?
Yeah.
It's like a deer path or an animal path in the woods.
Yeah, it's not much of a path.
No, it's not much of a path at all. And then you get out to this location, and it's right next to the river, and it's like, or the creek, and I think it's a river though. And it's right there. It's like a big green space that's just open with long green grass kind of area. And that's where they were found. And it, like Drew said, months later, they went missing in July. They were found in December, right?
Yeah, it was about 5 months.
So it was 5 months that they were out there, with the elements and everything. But what I found interesting is, were they really out there for 5 months? Because I know that seems odd to say, but we don't know a lot yet, like I said, about that crime scene, but you would think in that area, there's going to be animal activity. And if they found all of that evidence there, it just is bizarre to me. So how long were they really out there? We don't know.
Statistically, when kids are taken and murdered,
Yep.
It's done within a few hours. They do what they're going to do with them. The fantasy's over. They've done what they're doing, then they leave.
Right.
So usually, it's all over within a few hours. And like I said, I think they were taken there. There's no way.
I don't think they were carried in there.
No, I mean, just the path alone, carrying somebody. Imagine carrying. I don't know how. I'm going to guess the lyric was maybe 150 pounds, something like that. But I can't imagine somebody carrying somebody through that terrain.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
Me either. No, absolutely not. And so, yeah.
They were taken there probably, and they did whatever they did to them, and then they killed them there, and they left.
And do you? I think I asked you this when we were there that day. Is that location, from what you know, is that a place people go fishing and people go back to? I mean, there was a family there that found them, right? It was a mom, a dad, and a son that were out hunting, right?
It's a hunting area, fishing area.
Because, it's odd to me that if this did happen, like you said, right away, that for 5 months, nobody was out there and they weren't found sooner, I guess.
That's what's making me scratch my head. I mean,
that's what has always bothered me.
I mean, if it's a fishing area.
If you listen, I don't know where I'd heard it, but the guy that found him, the Kevin Graham's dad.
Yes.
That found him, he said, he walked right up onto it. He said if you'd have looked, there was so much grass. Right. Because it was tall. If it could have been 5 feet more one way than the other, he would not have seen the original body. He saw it. He said it was so overgrown, and he was right up on top of it before he saw it. So,
and
I think
that makes sense.
And I don't think people really go all the way back there to fish. I think they pull into that parking area and just fish off the bank.
Right.
I don't think people to go back to that area.
There's
to fish.
somebody in chat named Eric Jones who said it's a hunting area and it was a party spot back in the 70s and the early 80s.
Yeah. And people would go out there to cook methamphetamine, I think.
Yeah, I definitely could see that as well.
So definitely. I think they've found lots of stuff out there like that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Drew, I'll be frank, wants you to talk about the girls if you can.
Huh.
Tell us about the girls, you know, what they like to do and things in that nature. I guess that's what he's wanting to explain to the chat, what kind of girls they were. They like to play sports, you know, things in that nature.
Oh, well, Elizabeth, you know, she was super bubbly, super happy, always smiling. She loved softball and hockey. She was pretty tough, and so was Lyric too. You know, they were more like sisters, I would say. They spent a lot of time together.
Well, we heard that before.
They would like brother and sister, like sisters, and then it would be time for Lyric to leave, and they would be like, "Can Lyric spend the night?" And we'd be like, "We've been listening to you guys fight all day." No, absolutely, go.
So they were basically inseparable, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they were very tight. But you know, Lyric was older, and she was allowed to do a lot more than Elizabeth. She was allowed to go on bike rides by herself. And she was, you know, adventurous, fearless, I would say, too. And, you know, she just had kind of a little harder lifestyle growing up, I would say, than Elizabeth. But, you know, they were both still really good kids. I think, you know, Heather's mom, you know, she, you know, never missed an opportunity to undermine my authority.
That's what most mothers do.
This is a mother-in-law. This is a mother-in-law he's speaking of.
Oh, okay.
You know, she knew, she's dead now, but she knew that we wouldn't let Elizabeth go on bike rides without an adult. But like I said, she loved to undermine my authority. She was at my house watching my kid, and she let him go on because she would let Lyric go on bike rides when they were at Lyric's house or Wilma's house.
Mm-hmm.
And so just used to letting Lyric go and go for bike rides and didn't think nothing of it. So I think, you know, I wasn't around, and you know, she just she made really, really stupid mistake and let them go for a ride that day. And, you know, she had to live with that till up in a couple years ago. You know, it's taken me a long time. I was very angry for a long time.
I remember you telling me.
I'm still pretty angry.
Didn't you tell me that Elizabeth was grounded and was not supposed to go out of the house?
She was grounded, too, at the time. So,
yeah.
Like I said, she never missed an opportunity to undermine my parenting. So, in the end, it cost her 2 grandkids. So,
yeah, I do feel. I mean, I feel bad about that whole situation because you know she didn't want that to happen, and it's like, you know, and to that's why, you know, when you are a grandparent, which I am, and you know, you have to follow the parents' wishes. I always say, not on my watch, but you know.
She would tell him, your dad, you don't got to listen to your dad. He's not here. Kind of stuff.
So hard, Drew. I'm sorry that you have to think about that.
And the bad thing about that whole situation is we've all been there. We know what society is about these days. And with your former mother-in-law, did you say it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She grew up in a different generation than we did. So it was probably like me at my age and Kristin's age when we were growing up. We didn't have to bother locking the front doors or anything like that.
Especially in such a small town as Evansdale. But what people don't understand about Evansdale is it butts right up against, is it Waterloo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it butts up right against Waterloo. You can be driving and you're in Evansdale, and the next thing you know, you're in Waterloo. So Waterloo's a lot bigger. Do you see what I mean?
It's a great place. There's crime, but most of the people here are good, hardworking people. I've been here since the 80s, and we've never experienced anything like this.
I was just going to say, what you've never had this kind of a crime before, right? This was like the first. No. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then it happens in a small town, and when a kid goes missing, the city starts throwing everything they have at it.
Right.
They'll call in the firemen, they'll call in the street department guys to check trails. Well, you can pretty quickly use up all your
resources.
Really,
yeah,
really quick, because we're Evansdale is just a small town,
right?
Next big towns.
Absolutely.
When you want that quick response, and we got a quick response. Really did. The city police department got going right away. They didn't really, they didn't act like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. That from the beginning they stepped up and started going through those resources they had, sending fire department guys out, sending the street guys out. All the police were out, and then that night, that Friday night, we got in touch with DCI and FBI. By Saturday morning, we had everybody here from the state to the,
right.
But these things happen so quick, and that's why it's so important to have a quick response, is because generally when these things do happen, that child is gone within a few hours.
Yeah. Drew, they're asking what the age of Elizabeth and Lyric would be today.
Elizabeth would be 21, and I think Lyric would be like 23, 24. Oh yeah, I
it's a long time.
The time just flies.
It does fly.
In some ways it seems like it was yesterday, and in other ways it seems like another lifetime ago. So it's really weird.
I just, like I said, I mean, after visiting there and seeing everything, visiting Angels Island is just what you guys have done there and created there for the memory of not only your own girls, but for other victims of crime, and is just unbelievable to me. When you look at the pictures and the photographs of the island before you guys did all the work, it's just amazing. It's such a beautiful and tranquil place to go. It's very emotional for anyone. I would highly suggest, if anyone has the ability to go, they should. because what Drew has done there is amazing. Planting trees for other victims and just giving other families a place to go, not just for his girls.
Now, were the bikes found at Myers Lake?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, it was a snatch and grab. Is this what they're looking at here?
I think there was some sort of ruse to get them around the backside of that island at
I
the
agree.
spot where the bikes were found. It's like a very secluded area. It's, you know, the only real secluded area in the park. You're trapped down there between the woods and the highway. You can't hear anybody. If you were down there screaming, nobody would hear you.
Wow.
They could have just told the girls, hey, I'm looking for my puppy. Can you guys go that way?
Yeah.
And they could have driven. They could have driven to the backside of that park, opened up the back of their truck or van or whatever they had. And when the girls came back through there, whisked them off, and no one would have seen or heard anything.
There's for you guys that aren't familiar, there is a path that goes all the way around the lake. It's a nice path that they've created to go. Drew drove on it. So to show us how you could just drive your vehicle back to this side that he's talking about, the back side that butts up against the interstate. Because there was a lot of talk about that too, that, you know, I've seen that online and people are saying, you know, it was a trucker who was on, you know, the interstate. No, I don't believe that. You have
It's not, it's passed through. It's somebody from here.
Yeah, it is not somebody passing through. This is somebody who lives in that area. And I believe that. I've believed it since day one. And I think it's going to be in a similar, sadly, I believe it'll be very similar to what we had in Delphi. It's going to be somebody who's been living in plain sight. And that probably we would never have guessed, maybe.
If it's somebody it's in the case file. I believe it'll be somebody that's in the case file already.
Because I think a lot of these people that commit these kinds of things, they like to follow the case. They like to interject themselves in the case. They may have already interviewed this person. They may have already talked to this person. More often than not, they do. And, you know, I just hope that justice is quickly going to be coming here soon. I just do, because it's a long time coming for both of these beautiful girls.
And the
they didn't
families
deserve what happened to them that day. And Drew certainly didn't deserve what happened to him and his entire family. I think that's one of the things that always gets to my heartstrings about him. And when you meet him, he's such a kind person and a soft-spoken person, but he's also crazy. And he knows that. He knows what I mean by that.
I'll meet him in person one day. It's like I was talking to you behind the scenes, Kristin. Me and Ruckus have talked about this case day in and day out. And he said, the next time I go up there, you're coming with me because I know how you are. You'll be kicking in doors wanting to talk to people. Get some information.
He's well known in the community. I think he's well loved in the community. I think you know, he's been the face of the case from the beginning. Not that Heather and everybody else hasn't, you know, talked to people or whatever about the girls, but he has done everything to try to keep this case out there. And this, you know, he's met some, as he said, some amazing people and some. I think he's helped other families try to traverse this that it's happened to. And after, like I said, after you meet him and talk to him, you realize just what he lost that day. Because he lost his marriage. He lost a lot. And it all led to, because of what happened here. And it should never happen.
Like somebody was, you know, you're sitting in your living room one night and somebody drives a semi truck through your house. There's nothing that has an effect in our lives, you know, all the way your relationships with other people, because you kind of fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it really just, it ruins whoever did this, you know, they did more than just take the girls.
They destroyed your family. And as Patty said in her statement in court, when I went to the Frank and I were there for the sentencing of Richard Allen, this is generational. When this happens to families, this affects generations, because your children, you have other children, their siblings, Elizabeth's siblings, it's affected them. It will affect their children. It will affect your family for generations to come. All of this is out on the internet. It's never going to go away. People that in your family that may say, oh, well, there was a little girl that, you know, this is what happened. They can go out, they'll be able to find this story, this case for generations. It's a very heavy thing for families to have to carry. And sadly, like I said, these monsters walk among us, and a lot of times they look like us. They just look like normal, everyday Joe Blows or whatever. And because people are looking for the monster, and a lot of times that's not who it is. It's just a guy.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's, you know, that's part of the process. I think you have weathered it better than most. And I know that there are times you probably feel that that's, you know, that's bullshit. Sorry for my French here, but, you know, because you're entitled to feel however you want on any given day. And you know that I feel that way. And to this day, you can still feel that way. And for you to say you're still angry, you have every right to still be angry. And, you know, I'm just glad that you were able to pick up the pieces and try to find some semblance of normal through it all, while still fighting for them, because you still fight for them.
You know, there's one thing that I've learned through the Delphi case, that the families will never be normal again, ever. And I am glad to see that Drew came out and he's got the good fight going, instead of just sitting at home in a shell, you know, dwelling for the rest of his life. He's making the effort to make sure that these girls' memories stay alive, no matter what the circumstances or the outcome comes out of this.
It was his baby girl.
Oh, of course. Of course.
You know, and I love her smile, Drew. I love all the pictures that I've got of her and that smile that she had. I mean, it's so infectious. You can almost hear her. I can almost hear her giggle, because I'm sure you do, you know, when you look and see, because she just, like you said, she just seems like the happiest of kids, like just so happy.
You know, it's really crazy, because when they were missing, and I think every parent probably thinks this, but I thought, you know, she was going to be okay, because I was like, there's no way they could hurt her, because she's so cool. She was such a cool human, and so funny, and that smile, like nobody could hurt her. But I think every parent probably thinks that. And, you know, the fact that what he did, you know, you know, you know, we can't comprehend that, because if we saw anybody hurting a child, we're gonna
yeah,
go nuts. We're gonna stop it, you know.
Right.
But these people, you know, they live in a fantasy-driven life, and they're sick in the head.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Anthony France says, I'm surprised the technology they have now amazes they haven't solved the case. If you would have came in a little bit earlier, Anthony, Drew was talking about that the police department had purchased some new technology for their own labs so they can further their testing with DNA. And we're hoping and praying that this technology makes a break or breaks this case.
Yep, absolutely. Drew, there's a comment in here from Eric Jones who says, my thought is he took the back way out to Seven Bridges past Elk Run onto the side roads outside of the Evansdale, Waterloo, Cedar Falls area. There's not much but farmland and small towns.
Well, I think they were taken directly out there. He was probably gone before we even really knew they were missing. I think they were snatched and taken out there right away. So they were probably there at Seven Bridges before we really even knew they were missing.
Right.
You know, they want to limit their time of exposure when they've got those kids in a public area. Like,
yeah.
Down where they were taken, they want to limit their time that they can be seen. So they're loaded quickly, driven to where they're going to take them. He probably already knew where he was going to take them before he took them. So, I don't think for a minute that, that I think they were taken. I don't think they were taken somewhere else. I think they were just taken right there.
Directly there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, if they were gonna take him anywhere, they took him there and did like you said, whatever their disgusting plan was to do, and then killed them, and that was it. And then crawled back into their world. And a lot of these guys, like you said, not only do they live in the fantasy world, but a lot of them just are able to blend right back in, whether it be go back to work, go back to their family if they're married. You know what I mean? They can just go back and be quote unquote normal people.
Just like Dennis Rader.
Yep. And so I think that a lot of times that's what we find out. And it is very hard and unsettling for us as parents and grandparents to even think that that's possible, that somebody could do something so atrocious and then turn around and go right back into being, but they can turn it on and off like light switches. They can just,
This person might even have age.
Pardon?
This person might even have kids their age.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And yep.
And they have, it's the girls were just a thing to them.
Yep.
That's how come they could do this kind of stuff, but we can't understand it because to them, they're just a thing.
They're just an object. Yeah, just an object.
And they're just a thing to them.
Yep.
And their needs, whatever they may be, are more important in that person's life.
For sure.
To them. And we just can't understand. I thank God we don't understand.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think I don't really want to know or be able to understand how somebody could do this. It's so horrific. I don't think for any of us that are quote, quote, normal people will ever be able to understand the minds of these people and how they can hurt children and do this to children. It's bad enough doing it to any human being, but when we're talking about our innocence, our purely, sweet and innocent children, it's just beyond understanding.
Yeah, you look at those two girls and tell me what kind of human could do that. You are, whoever it is, I hope you're listening. You are a sick bastard, whoever you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you don't care.
Well,
this person's also following everything, I'm sure.
Oh, I do believe that.
I like to talk and say whatever I can get through to that person. It sounds crazy.
No, it doesn't. You can you can say whatever you want to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think whoever it is watching this and they think they're smarter than the police. They're smarter than everyone else. and they think they've gotten away with it because it's been 13 years, but like soon somebody's going to know who you are and what you are, and you're going to be exposed, and the world's going to know. Your family, all your mother, your family's going to all know what kind of monster you are.
Yeah, exactly. What are they gonna think about you when they realize what you did to these two beautiful little children?
Haven't we heard that before?
Oh yeah, it sounds definitely just like I said, you can see why so many people that have watched Evansdale were drawn to Delphi and vice versa, because it's so very similar in a lot of ways, and we all know that. But it is truly sad. I did promise Drew that I was only keeping him for an hour, and it's been an hour. So Drew, is there anything else that you would like to say to anybody out there, or just your final thoughts on what's been happening? Or you could, if the floor is yours, you can say whatever you want.
No, I think for one, just our community, everyone from this area that's supported and sent me messages or stuff like that, kind of encouraging us. It is so appreciated, and to the police that are working it, they've kept constant communication with me. I hear all these cases where the police don't communicate with the families, and I have to say that the state of Iowa and the DCI set the bar on how they interact with families that are going through this. They've done a great, same with the FBI. They explained things to me from the beginning, so we wouldn't feel like, they just said from the beginning, hey, we have to start at the family and work our way out. So don't take offense to it. They explained it, and, they never made us feel like suspects. They have to obviously look at the family, but, they just did a really good job. I think they've done a great job of keeping the case very secretive. And I just want them to just kind of keep doing what they're doing, and hopefully we get a suspect here soon.
Yep.
To the perpetrator, I would say, I hope you're living in fear, wondering what day it's going to happen, and know that it will happen. You will get that knock on the door someday, and you're going to live a little bit of the hell that we've lived over the last 30.
And I want to add one thing to that before you go, Drew. I always say this: anybody that's out there watching that knows something, say something, because this family has went too long without answers, and it's time to put a close to this chapter in their life if you know something.
Absolutely. And the other thing I've always said too is, I don't want to just expose who did this. If there's anybody that knew something and that comes out, we're going to expose them.
Hey.
Absolutely. If anybody was covering this or covering for someone or knew or saw something and didn't say something, they should be held accountable, because that's
even if it's just in the public eye.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Husband, and he was acting strange during that time, and you saw him doing things to cover it up or whatever, and
yep.
And you didn't come forward, and you let us suffer for 13 years or however long it's going to be, then you're a piece of trash too.
Yep.
So that's the other thing. I want everyone that had anything to do with it exposed.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I absolutely agree with you. And
that's perfectly said.
Yep. And like you always say it so eloquently, but I appreciate you coming on. I know that this was a bittersweet weekend for you. And I hope that that you do have a lot of people who have your back, and we care about you. We care about your girls. We care about Lyric and Elizabeth. And even all these years later, they are still on our minds, and we want justice for you and your family.
And just remember, if there's ever anything that you need us to do on our end, as far as a live show, whatever it may be, don't be afraid to reach out to us, because we're there for you to do whatever you need for you.
Always, always.
Thank you,
And
guys.
I will be making another trip up there to see you, just to hang out. So,
All right.
okay.
Thanks, Drew.
Ride. You know, we do something that's really cool, guys, and then I'll let you go.
Sure.
At the ride, at the opening of the park,
Yeah.
we do all the silent tribute, and the silent tributes for all the other families in our area that have lost somebody to homicide.
Mm-hmm.
So we make up big posters of their loved ones, and maybe a little bit of case information on it, but a picture. And then as the bikes go by, the families stand out there in front of the park as the bikes go by, and all the bikers kind of wave at them and, you know, send them some love, rev their motor. It's called the silent tribute, but it's anything but silent. The bikers rev their motors through there, and I tell you guys what, you've got to come and just experience it once. If the hair on your arm doesn't stand on end, you don't have a pulse.
I already have tears, and I'm not even there, and I'm thinking to myself, I will definitely be in tears. So I definitely will make the trip next year. I promise.
And, you know, for those families, you know, our case gets so much publicity and so much exposure, and a lot of those cases, they're just dead in the water. They don't hear from the investigators. They are very, very cold. They might be very old, but it's that one day of the year that those families can come out and show they're still have hope, and they still love that person that's gone now. So it's just amazing.
It's a wonderful tribute that you guys do. It sounds amazing.
It is, and I really, it's definitely my favorite part of the ride. And it just lets those other people know that they haven't been forgotten. And you know, it's just really cool. So
awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. You're always welcome. And you always do an awesome job maintaining, you know, your decorum through all this. Like I said, I look up to you for that, because you are stronger than you think. And I know that there's days you don't want to be strong, so that's okay too.
Yeah, you know, you have hard days and you have good days. You know, as time goes, you know, at first it's all bad days, and as time goes, you kind of learn to accept things that you never wanted to accept in the beginning, and you learn how to cope, and you learn how to find a place for it. And so, you know, that's what I would tell anybody else that's starting to go through this is, you know, it's going to get better. It's never going to be great, but, you know, it's slowly you learn how to live with it, and slowly you learn how to accept it, I guess.
If you had one thing to say about Lyric and Elizabeth's legacy, what do you think that legacy is?
Oh, their families loved them.
Yep. And you know what? They've touched so many people. That's amazing in itself. And because of that, like I said, you've helped so many other families going through this. And I think that that's an amazing tribute to them, to the girls as well. You've taken a horrible situation and tried to turn it into something good. So, and as Eric Jones said, he said he's local, but he said this case means a lot to him. And he follows it. So I guess thank him, you know, for that. But
thank everybody that follows it. And
yep.
Someday we'll be, you know, we'll have a ride someday where we're celebrating an arrest.
Exactly. That would be great. Well, Drew, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you really soon.
God bless you, Drew.
And just remember that we're all here for you, and we love you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
What a great man. What a great man.
You know, he really is. It's hang on a second. I'm trying to stop. They've changed a lot of this.
Yes, they have.
And I'm
I've
trying to
noticed
figure
that.
out how to stop my screen and get us back up here. And I don't know how to do that. Hold on a second. Let me do this. There we go. He really is. And you will love when you meet him. Like I said, I spent an entire day with that man in his truck. Ruckus and the girls, Jinx and Rescue, were in the other vehicle. And he is hilarious. He has a sense of humor that you would not believe. And he was Drew was behind, Ruckus was behind us. Drew was in front leading. And he goes, watch this. And all of a sudden, he just tries to drive his truck off the road. And I'm sitting here going, what the heck? You know, he was trying to freak Ruckus out, doing stuff like that. And like I said, you know, just this huge, great sense of humor, and just a really great human being. And I'm really glad that I did get the opportunity to meet him and to spend time with him and hear his story of everything that happened from the beginning to the end that day. And yeah, Evansdale to me is just as important as it was with me with Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when the Evansdale case happened. I'm in Illinois. It's very close, similar to Delphi. You know, it made our airwaves, you know, when the girls were taken. And it's just, I know a lot of people, you'll be talking and they'll be like, oh, I thought that case was solved. Didn't that guy in that they found in Iowa, that serial killer, didn't he do it? Because they're thinking Klunder.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and it's like, no, it's not. That's not where we're at with this case. So
now, was Klunder known to be a pedophile or anything like that?
Yeah,
Does anybody know?
The year after Lyric and Elizabeth, he kidnapped 2 girls, and
go figure, 2 girls.
Yeah. Oh, that was his MO, and he had kidnapped 2 before Lyric and Elizabeth went missing. So I mean, he had, like I said, he had an MO,
right?
But and like Drew said, Klunder makes sense. It
Right.
does, but when you have the DCI and the police coming out and saying, we've looked at Klunder, it's not him, he wasn't in the area, they're saying that they can't place him in Evansdale that day. So it's like, are they just saying that?
Right.
And why would they just say that, since Klunder is not alive anymore? Are they thinking Klunder didn't act alone? Is the guy that was Klunder's friend who lived down the street from Drew, is that guy also on their radar? Are they, you know, do you see what I mean? Are they trying to put 2 and 2 together and figure that out? Possibly. Klunder definitely could have been the guy.
Right.
But there's other people, like Drew said, that could have been the guy. The guy who found the girls' bikes always has been a problem for me. And we that follow true crime, and you know that, you know, first people on the scene, people who, you know what I mean? Because these people interject themselves into cases. That guy who found those girls' bikes lawyered up right away. Who does that?
Well, we've seen it in the Delphi case.
And he doesn't talk to law enforcement. They've never been able to interview him because he lawyered up.
I mean, right. I mean, we've seen the same thing in the Delphi case. Look at Dave McCain. He lawyered up right out the gate, even though he wasn't involved. But you know, it's
and if you can't put him there, and like I said, you know, in this day and age, cell phones are big. But what if he didn't use? What if he used a burner? What if he didn't? You know what I mean? And have they done all that? Did they do the net? of, you know, of all the cell phones in the area? Have they found out who they are? I'm sure they have at this point. But yeah, I mean,
like Gibbo says here, is because Clunder is deceased and it's not confirmed him, or they don't want tips to stop coming until they have answers. Just because they don't believe it's Clunder, what Gibbo is saying here, keep the tips coming. Keep the tips coming. Maybe one of them tips will point right at Clunder, you know. So
Eric says, wasn't the family, because it was a mother, a father, and a son who were out hunting that found the girls' bodies. Were they not employed by the man we're calling the bike man, the man who found the girls' bikes? I know his name. I'm not putting it out there for obvious reasons. People that follow this case, he's out there. If you look far enough, you can find it. People talk about it because it's sketchy. What he did is sketchy. I think the guy who's the last person that saw the girls, who was out mowing his grass, that person was always a person on my radar. He sees them. You have there's a video out there of the girls, and you can see them riding their bike through town, and they got them on different cameras, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they ride by this guy's house. He's out mowing his grass, and he remembers seeing the girls.
You know what's so funny is that this individual that did this basically knew where every camera was in the town, and he avoided it all.
Yep. And like Deb said, what if he left his phone at home? What if he didn't bring his phone, or had a burner phone, or whatever, you know? And the guy that we're talking about, bridge guy or bike guy, he told someone in the documentary that he left his phone at home because of probation. And Drew did speak to him. And, but I find that guy to be very suspect. And again, there are a number of people that could play into this case.
Right.
And I think we just need to keep it out there and wait to see what happens with the new technology and the DNA testing. I think that's going to be a big deal.
It's going to be the make or break of this case.
And I do think it's going to make or break this case. And for Drew and his family, they deserve justice. It's been too long.
Right.
Well, guys, that's about all I have for you guys tonight. I'm really glad that everybody was here. I'm just going to real quick do some shout outs before I leave. I'm glad that Frankmesiter was here to join us as always. But good to see you, CJK, GP, Randy Gravitt, Karen Hick, Gail Hurd, Nana, Laura, Deb from True Crimes Notebook, I'll Be Frank, Miranda, Eli McCullough,
homeboy,
Wanda from Missouri. You guys, thank you for being here. Aurora, Streets of Bakersfield. Let's see. Louise.
Let's see. We got
Miss Persevere.
Yeah. Angela Van Oven.
Lisa, thank you so much for being here. To all my mods, I'm glad we didn't have anybody lurking, causing problems. That's always a nice thing. Who else? Am I missing anybody? If I'm missing anybody,
Miranda.
Yeah.
Eric Jones.
Randy Gravitt is here and in the house. Randy, it's always good to see you, my dear. I miss you. GP said, Kristin and Frankmesiter, thanks for doing this live. Everyone, please give a thumbs up and share it out. Yes, please share it so that we can get the word out. More people can start following Evansdale.
Manual Override, another one.
Jill Mosier. Jill, I hope you're doing well. How are you? Good to see you.
Anthony France.
Hey, Anthony. Good to see you. Manual Override. Good to see you. Eric Jones, thank you for sharing your insights from being a local person. What else? Who else?
I don't see anybody else.
I think
Yep.
Yep, I think that's it. Wander from Missouri. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. And go, if you haven't seen the HBO series,
Documentary.
the documentary Taken Together, Who Killed Lyric and Elizabeth, it was put out last year, and it's really well done. The guy who did it and worked on this is from the Evansdale area, and I think that it's important for people to actually watch if you don't know the case. There is some good information in there. But remember that there are other people of interest besides the ones that they brought out in the documentary. Just remember that.
It was good to see everybody. It's been a minute. And
it is good to see everybody. It has been a minute. For those of you, I'm working on some stuff with Flora. And so that's going to be coming. Please look for that.
Oh, and by the way, if anybody has Spotify, go subscribe to Zone 7. Cheryl McCullough, it's her own podcast, and we all know who Cheryl is. She's the retired CSI expert out of Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Yeah, she's not retired, though. She's still working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and
she still works for Atlanta PD, and she is amazing. If you guys have seen her, she's been on CNN, Nancy Grace. She is very, very, very highly respected in her industry. And she is, I mean, I've had her on my show numerous times, and I'm working on some things with her. And also with Nicole Brock, who is also with the fire department in Atlanta. She's a fire chief. You guys, we've got some stuff coming on Flora. So keep your eyes out for that. And you guys all take care. It was great seeing all of you. Thank you so much for spending time with me tonight. Good night, all.
Peace out. One love, guys. See you soon.
Good night.